sure she'll enlighten me on how AI is going to affect us in the long term, just in the health portion of our community, which in the long term I think will be great, but in the short and medium term there's going to be pain.
Well, we started out really positive. Now I want to go and stick my head in an oven. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry. I listen. It's going to be amazing. In like 15 years, it's going to be great.
Yeah,
it's just in the short term, it's going to be a little bumpy. That's all. That's all. It's all I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say, don't buy the J's and buy Google. That's all.
Buy the Jordans and buy some stock is what I'm saying. Do a little bit of both.
Everybody, welcome back to YHEA FOO Nah Fool. I am this fool. I am here with Gelindo. What up, Gelindo?
Hey, what's up? Same old for me. You know, stretching.
Same old. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah,
you're just stretching out.
That's
ice
it.
Packs.
Ice
trying to find relief.
Yep, trying to.
That's it. Everything else is just repeat.
Yeah, wash, rinse, repeat. But it's
now
all good.
These stretches are 20 minutes every day, right? All 20 minutes.
Yeah, every 20 minutes of my waking hour, I stretch. Then I set my timer for 20 minutes, and then I go and stretch. And the stretching takes anywhere from 20 minutes to then if I involve the strengthening part, you know, it's then could be 40 minutes. And then I set the timer for another 20 minutes. And I just keep on doing that all day until 10 o'clock at night. And now, because my hand has been swollen, I'm doing occupational hand therapy. So I'm doing therapy 5 days a week instead of 3 days a week. And I have to do, on top of my stretching for my shoulder, I've got to now do stretches for my hand. So, but
and you're wearing a compression on your hand, right?
Yeah. Well, I've got an ice. It's
glove?
an ice glove that instead of just wrapping an ice bag around my hand, I put this glove on, and it's cold. It's already warming up on me, but
Gelindo currently looks with this glove on. People, he looks like, for all of us that were 80s kids, like Dr. Claw. All he's missing is the cat, and say, soon, Gadget. Soon.
I feel more like Mad Max. I got more of a Mad Max feel to me, actually.
Oh, in your mind, you're Mad Max, huh?
Yeah, I've been through the ringer, the original Mad Max.
You know, Mad Max is a great segue to what we're about to talk about, which is because it also takes place on the road less traveled.
Yes, for sure.
We're gonna review a little bit of your friend. Your colleague, your friend, son's documentary called The Last Apostle.
Which is on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. We watched it. I know. Listen, guys, I get it that some of you are like, what? The Last Apostle? Isn't that a Kevin Smith? No, not that Last Apostle. We're talking about Saul, who became Paul. And I know some of you don't know your Bible, and some of you haven't been to church ever. And you're asking, why are we talking about this? It's because this documentary is really informative, and we want to promote it. We want to help our fellow creative person here that actually took a chance and made it. And actually, it's a really good product. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It was surprisingly informative and engaging.
Yeah. And if you're a person like I am, where I tend to be like, oh no, a documentary, I can't watch it because I'm having to stretch. I have 20-minute windows to do everything in my world right now. So I was only able to watch the documentary in 20-minute increments. So you can go and do the same thing. Just watch it in 20-minute increments because, you know, there's a lot of information there. And you can digest it that way so that you don't feel like, oh, I've got to sit here, you know, for the whole 2 hours. Or you can if you're engaged enough. But it's not only informative because of Paul, but also about the country Turkey. So, because that's where it's all taking place.
Now, I'm like we've talked before, I'm a man of faith. My father was a minister. I grew up in the church. So when I saw we're going to talk about Paul, my eyes kind of rolled back because my picture of Paul has always been an elderly kind of man with a staff walking down a road, walking down the Roman road in a flat Roman road out in Israel. That was my vision of Paul all the time.
Yep, the road to Damascus. He was just a man.
The road to Damascus.
He was just out on a leisurely,
on a casual stroll. Right,
yeah,
right.
Going out for a little.
And yeah, that's the way, unfortunately, how the church has always somewhat painted Paul. And it is far, far from the truth. Once you see this documentary, you find out there's no way Paul could be an elderly man with a staff. If he carried a staff, it was for protection.
Yeah.
Because this road was not flat. And I would say it was the road less traveled. And there were pirates involved and wild animals. And I don't know how he made it from Turkey to Rome.
Well, and that's the other thing, is because a lot of this is taking place in Turkey. So that's where you get it's an eye opener. And not to give away too much, because we wind up doing the next podcast is going to be all about this film, and we go
and we get our filmmaker who made the film discussing it in depth. But if you're a Christian, if you're a Catholic, if you know who Paul is and you have an idea, I'm sure it's the same one that we all kind of grew up with.
Right.
This kind of elderly man kind of hobbling around with a staff in a flat road out in Rome, sitting down at a cathedral somewhere, talking to people and creating churches. And that's kind of like what we grew up thinking. That is not the correct image of Paul. We've shorted him a lot.
Right.
According to this documentary, which was a complete eye-opener. It changes your perspective on the church,
right?
On like what he did. It becomes a thing where you're just like, that was a miracle. Like his life journey was a miracle. You're like, oh yeah, no, that was brutal.
Right. And so, if you get a chance, check out the documentary before you watch the next episode, so that it'll make even more sense for you. Because
that way you feel you're involved in the conversation, and you can, like I always tell you guys, by all means, please let us know on Instagram what your thoughts are, not just on the podcast, but what we're talking about. And if we have an opportunity to take a look at it, and we'll shout you out and say, oh, hey, some people are saying this, or hey, Gelindo 25-4 says that you guys suck, which, when Gelindo puts that in there, I never respond to him, but
not yet anyway. I got to do better.
So I please take a look, please watch it, and listen to the episode when he comes on, which will be probably the one right after this.
Right. And the main purpose too, besides wanting to interview somebody that is a creator, a documentarian, and to find out what he did to go and make it, but also he's got a GoFundMe page, and we are going to try and help him to raise some money for the second film, which we discuss in the podcast as well. So
yeah, the second portion of this should be a lot more interesting than the first. I mean, don't get me wrong, the first part, like I said, it just changes your perspective on Paul. Yeah. In Turkey, I mean, as Christians, people of faith, we all believe that for some strange reason, it all took place in Israel, Egypt, Iraq, Iran, and that's it. We never think that in Rome, right? But we step over the majority, and it's just, I couldn't tell you how surprised I was that it takes place in Turkey. It blew my mind.
It's mind blowing.
It blew my mind. It's just like, you're just like, what? Wait, I thought this was all on this part of the planet, not on that part of the planet.
Okay. That's it.
Crazy.
Don't give them any more information. That's a tease, so we can get them to go and listen.
All right. We'll change over the subject to I had now, before I say this, let's also let them know, Bob, that we're full of opinions, and We are not experts on a damn thing unless you are. Have you decided that you're an expert besides on stretching? Are you an expert on stretching?
I'm not even an expert on that, man, as much as I've been.
So, in other words, take everything we say with a big grain of salt. Remember, these are just opinions and entertainment purposes. All right. All right. I'm not trying to lead you guys to do anything irrational. That said, it was brought up to my attention because I dabble in the stock market. Every so often, I'll take a gander at it, and I'll do a deep dive on a stock for whatever reason. I enjoy doing it, and I've been lucky. I'll say it's been luck more than precision, like a surgeon.
Right.
And
yeah, my buddy
NVIDIA.
My buddy just hit big yesterday. He sent me this. It went from, he bought it at $20 and it's at $90 yesterday after close.
What was that?
It's for the injection drug that helps. It's for obesity.
Lilly?
Well, no, it's
Lilly,
not Lilly.
yeah.
It's VTQX or Victor or something like that. So he was sharing that with me, and I was like, "Well, you could have shared this with me when it was $20 a share." I don't know.
Right.
It just doesn't help me, but I'm happy for you.
Well, my friend who was telling me this, he one day he'll be on here. Mike from the 170. He was telling me, he's like, hey, why don't you ever share your picks or some of that knowledge that you somehow grab every so often? And I said, oh, well, because I'm not a financial advisor.
Right.
And I don't want people to get all angry at me if I'm wrong and you decided to put your life savings on a thing, right? But he was like, you were right on that NVIDIA stock. And I kind of laughed and I was like, yeah. I'm like, because we're living in the beginning ages of AI. I'm like, and if we, and I'm talking about, everyone that's listening at this podcast is between the ages of, 20 and 60, maybe 61. From those ages, if we're standing here and we've all said at one point, I wish I was there at the beginning of Apple. I wish I was there at the beginning of the internet. I wish I was there at the beginning of the car. You are all standing at the beginning of AI. And when you say to someone, hey, Apple is $182 or Google is $132, and they tell you, or you say, and they say that's too expensive, and you're like, those are nice shoes, and they're like, yeah, those are Jordans, and yeah, I'm going out to go watch the Laker game, and yeah, I'm gonna take an Uber, and you're like, dude, you're just spending like $500. You could buy Apple, and Apple could possibly give you $1,000 a share in 5 years. Like, that is, we got to start kind of like getting involved in investing in this AI, because whether we like it or not, it's not going to go anywhere. NVIDIA
I agree with you there.
Jumping $200 in a day. People, NVIDIA jumped $200 in 24 hours.
Wow. I wish I would have been in on that.
It is a crazy, it's Gelindo, I got in at NVIDIA at 156. It's at $800 today.
Wow.
It's going to hit $1,000 by the end of the year. Again, we're stepping at the precipice of a new era, and whether we like to admit it or not, it's going to happen. So people, what I'm trying to tell you is start getting educated on trying to invest a little bit. Try to understand, these big companies like Apple, Alphabet, which is Google, Intel, NVIDIA, AMD. These are all tech companies that are going to build the new world, the new AI world that we're all going to be in. And if we don't understand it, we should at least invest in it, because you're going to miss out on a great opportunity financially, from my humble, unexpert opinion.
I agree with you there. However, even at that you bought $150 a share, that's a large chunk of change there.
It is. It is a large chunk of change, and it's going to take some sacrifice to do.
Right. Well, but in order to buy 300 shares,
yeah, but there's fractional. There's
$3 million.
Yeah, but there's fractional. There's ways that you can. What I'm saying is, people spend money anyway, and there's ways you can get fractions of shares, and you don't have to put in it all in immediately. With whoever, whether it's Robinhood, I think does fractional, Fidelity does fractional, Schwab does fractional, where you can buy fractions of these companies like a piggy bank. And what I'm saying is, if you're saying, well, I'm saving my money, yeah, what you're getting in interest in the bank isn't the same as to what you're going to get in these stocks. And it's just, you can go to dividend stocks, dividend companies. Apple has a dividend, which means it pays you. I'm just trying to share, like my friend said, he's like, you should share some of this information because some of us aren't aware of it, and no one's ever talked to us about it. No one's even pointing at the direction like, hey, this is where you should be looking. And he's like, something like this happens, and then we all feel like, how come no one told me?
Right. But also on the other.
So for the fools out there that don't know, that aren't aware that this is a possibility that you could possibly, skip on the Jordans, skip on the J's, skip on the Yeezys, no, don't go on that trip and maybe invest a little. It's pleasure delay, I know, but it's literally, it could be your life's opportunity. You gonna say no? It can't be the life's opportunity here, like that I could be wrong.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying from my experience of things where I've gone and used logic investing in stocks, which I've done a little bit. I dabbled in it, and I was lucky on maybe a couple of things, but then the rest just completely tanked. And it's like, why did this happen? And there's like no rhyme or reason. Even though you go and you do your due diligence and your research,
right?
You still sometimes get screwed. That's all I'm saying. And
yeah, I agree with you.
And I want to invest into a stock when it's $20 a share. $5 a share is even better, so that I can buy shares, and then it goes up to 15, and then I can go and make some do-re-mi.
Yeah, I agree.
The wrong strategy, because again, I'm not. That's why I have mutual funds. That's why I've been.
I was about to say,
you can go mutual funds forever, so that I don't have to worry about thinking about those risks.
If you don't want to think about stocks and what's the right stock, there are so many tools now that there's ETFs, right? There's AI ETFs. There's AI indexes where you basically can put, I don't know, I wish I had them on my, that I could tell you, but if you would, again, use that thing that you have on your hand, that phone, and you Google ETFs or you Google AI indexes, it will give you the name of what that ETF is, and it'll give you the name of what that index is. And then you can invest in that. And that way you don't have to think about it, but you're putting your money towards that future.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, especially if you're younger right now too.
That's what I'm trying to say. If you're younger right now, look, I know that this is where Gelindo and I will have a little debate here, or a little clash. Some people believe that the AI is far away from taking over jobs. I'll argue and say that it's closer than we all think. And there's no regulation currently. And if we see anything from our current government, there's no regulation coming soon. And if our government has shown you anything, it has shown you that regulation comes really late to the markets. And so AI is coming for your job at one point or another, and either you can invest in it, or there's gonna be a mistake, and you're gonna be like, I should have invested instead of buying the J's. That's what I'm trying to warn. I know that Gelindo doesn't feel this way. He feels like they're still far away, and that humans are still going to be a thing. No,
I've been doing deep dive into AI since we first started talking about AI. I am aware that it is happening. However, yes, it's going to go and there's certain jobs that it's already going and taking away. But I'm not thinking that it's happening tomorrow, that all the jobs are going to AI. I mean,
I just think it's going to be a lot sooner than people think. I think people are like, oh, it's going to be in 10 years, or oh, it's
and new jobs are going to be created. You can't get rid of all the jobs, and then
no, you can't. But
you're getting rid of the consumer, and then what? So you got AI, and nobody has money. That's great. Now you've got a product that nobody can use or afford, and you have nothing.
I'm sure that something will. I'm sure that something will come of it. But I'm constantly like thinking, how can you benefit from it if everyone's going to start using it?
Right, and that's what I've been doing. And everything that I've come across is the only way you're making money off of AI at this moment is if you are the creator of a AI website or program that allows you to go and create these AI, whether it's illustrations or videos, and you're charging, $5 a month, and you get 200 tokens so that you can go and create. Those are the only ones that are really, I think, how you go and make money off of AI. As a business, though, you can use AI for certain things of, maybe for reports that you have to go and do. I mean, it's going to accelerate things like that, and it'll start chipping away at small jobs like that. Like copyright. Doing these copywriters that are doing things for Amazon products and describing the product. Well, all you got to do is just go and copy what the description of that product is, and when there's a new one that comes along, you just pop that into ChatGPT and say, yeah, update it, but change the name of it to this and add these enhancements, and boom, and it's done in 10 seconds. And you don't have to have a whole bunch of copywriters there rewriting.
Paralegal work will be a thing of the past, right?
You don't need a person to go and build your resume. You don't need a person to go and do your cover letters anymore, because you just do that with AI.
I don't think you're going to need a radiologist anymore.
I'll be able to do my own surgeries by myself.
I mean, you laugh
with my iPhone.
You make jokes. You make jokes. But I'm sure that sooner or later there's going to be an option where they're going to be like, hey, you can have an AI doctor on your webcam, and you can just type in how you're feeling, and the doctor can easily the AI doctor can be like, yeah, I got your lab. This is what's going on. This is what you got.
Yeah.
You can either take my advice, or you can pay the additional $200 to see a real person. That's that might be.
It's gonna take away jobs. So it's gonna create a whole bunch more jobs. Like, look at the Apple. What is the goggles? What is that? 360 Vision or something?
The iVision Pro, is that what it's called? Or right? The iVision Pro.
That, because of that thing, is going to create. You're going to need new content for using those goggles. I mean, you're going to use old content, but it's going to create a whole new world where you're going to want to see different things, and yes, it'll be created in AI, but somebody's going to have to go and create that. So it's going to create new jobs.
I think in the long term it will. I think in the short to medium term it's not. I think it's going to be. Well,
everybody thought that same thing about when the assembly line at the Ford company, when they're building vehicles, that that was the end of it. But yeah, that all got automated, but somebody then has to take care of that equipment. It all just goes and changes. They're never going to get rid of jobs completely unless they're going to create all these AIs, and then everybody just gets a stipend from the government every month. And I guess then you're living, that's perfect. Then you're just retired for your whole life. You're born, and then you just go to
try to be a human.
And you just be a human, yeah. And the rest is just AI, and everything is free. And then now all of a sudden we're living in Russia.
Well, unfortunately, I think we're not going to get to that portion of life ourselves. I think we're going to be more in the middle to beginning realm of losing jobs and being like trying to figure our way through a new AI world. And that's why I constantly tell guys or tell people, I'm like, you guys should start investing in this thing now, because it'd be like investing in the car. When the car technology came out, and being like, should I invest in this thing called the car? Should I invest in this thing called the plane?
I need to find an AI product or stock that is at the beginning stages that I know will go in and be competitive with these others, because everybody is pretty competitive right now. Right now, if you were, between, Bard and ChatGPT are the two biggest that I can think of. But then you've got, mergers are starting to happen. And go ahead.
I'm gonna give you all my 2 cents. Okay. Now you can take it or
We
leave
can't
it.
get the whole 10 cents. We're only entitled
Because
to
it might be only worth 2 cents.
So
It might only be worth 2 cents. So here's my 2 cents. Everyone is somewhat waiting for Nvidia to split, right? To go back to like $156 a share, right? Everyone, but it's not going to unless it hits $1,000. It's not going to split. So Google currently is at $138 a share.
I've got Google.
Think of it this way. Nvidia, during the gold rush, the people that were digging for gold were not the ones that were making the millions. It was the people that were creating the shovel and the materials that went into creating the shovel and the jeans. That's who was making the money, right? So when it comes to AI, Nvidia is the shovel. Got it?
Okay.
AI needs this thing called data for it to work properly, for it to be sufficient. It needs a lot of data. The biggest company that holds the majority of the data in the world of humanity is Google. Google owns YouTube. Google has Gmail. Google is the data. Google has no debt and it has a surplus of cash. At $138, it is a bigger company than Nvidia is. And at $138, guys, it's cheap because it can easily reach, maybe not today, maybe not in 2 years, but in 3 years or so, it could reach $500 a share. That's my 2 cents. That if you have a little bit of cash and you're thinking about, I should go buy Jordans today, or I should go buy the new Yeezys today, or I should, buy rims for my car, I am telling you, those are depreciating assets for the most part, and this isn't. That's my 2 cents. That's my 2 cents. Because I know people say, "Oh, those are so expensive stocks," and it's like, you just got rims. That's too expensive. I'm on my way. I'm going to Vegas this weekend.
Yeah, but a lot of people though are thinking $138 a share. Well, okay, I get to buy one share.
Yeah.
Not everybody has a surplus of cash to go and buy.
No, but what I'm saying is, if you can afford to buy, if you can afford to buy Jordans, if you can afford to go to Vegas, if you can afford to go to see a concert, for example, right?
Right. So
I am saying that you should then maybe rethink those evaluations and be like, is it more important for me to put it on this?
Not everybody is like me, sitting at home just stretching every 20 minutes. Some people are trying to live a life and go out and take
okay,
their
all right. Hey, all I'm trying to give you is, like I said, it might be worth only 2 cents. That's all I'm trying to say.
I'm just giving you the other perspective that some people.
No, I get. I have.
Because you only have a certain amount of cash that's coming in, so I got to pay all my bills, and then I've got a little bit of extra something, and I want to enjoy my life. Unfortunately, you have to go and choose between, do I go and spend that $138 on stocks, which eventually will, I don't know, is it going to be 5 years from now that all of a sudden that $138 stock is worth now $300, and if you've only bought one stock, that's, you got a extra $150. And if you bought 10 stocks, then you got an extra $1,500. So 5 years from now, you've got an extra $1,500. And that's nothing to sneeze at. But in the meantime, you're trying to go out and, live life and have fun, is my point.
You're right.
I hear what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Yes.
I have friends that tell me that all the time as well. Hey man, you gotta live life. You're only investing and saving and blah blah blah. And then hard times hit, and then everyone's like, "Oh well, I spent it," and it's like, yeah, well,
But I'm also for saving as well. I'm not a person that says don't go and save. I mean, I learned from the get-go when I didn't learn until I was in my 30s when I had this. I met this guy and he was retired, and the first thing and it was the best advice ever. And he goes, when you pay your bills, the first bill you pay is to yourself. He said, you go and as you become a utility bill. And so you write a check out to Bob every month. He goes, for $10 a month. That's what you start out with. And then after that, then you slowly increase it. And you add $15 a month. And then $25. He goes, next thing you know, you're paying yourself $300 a month, and you're just putting that into your savings. He goes, and it's just going to build up so fast. And that's what I wound up doing when I was in my 30s. Which then allows me to go and buy stocks.
If someone would have told me this information and I was standing at the precipice of Apple and I was 20 years old, instead of buying the iPhone or the iPod, and someone would have said, you know what, instead of buying that thing, you should put money in Apple.
I agree with you there, but $138 for a stock is not nothing.
Well, $200 for
$20.
Listen,
$20.
$200 for sneakers is what sneakers go for if you're going to get yourself a nice pair of sneakers. That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm at. Where I'm like, well, the $200 sneakers that you're going to buy, and they're collectibles, and okay. And you're gonna flip them one day or whatever.
How about give us a stock that's $20 a share that we can go and invest in, so that we can have more. That's my point.
Well, because
it's at $38. So I buy 2 stocks again. I'm waiting until
the reason why those other companies that are the reason why those other companies that I have a $25 stock that I could share with you all, but it's a shot in the wind. In other words, we're hoping for that. I know that at $138 or $200, which might be what Apple might get to, it sounds like a lot, but they're going to be around in 5 years. They're not going anywhere. They're too big to fail.
Right.
So even if the stock market would take a complete dump in trash, those companies will survive. That stock will survive. If I give you a $25 stock that I'm looking at, that I'm playing with in my head, I can't guarantee that company.
Guarantees, right? But you're saying, like if you were in your 20s and if you'd known about Apple back then, you would have gone and bought that instead of buying the iPhone. Well,
if I had the technology
too, when the Apple stock first came out, when it was $20 a share, unless you were, again, if I knew about NVIDIA when it was $20 a share and had that foresight, like, this is what I always knew about NVIDIA, but never thought about investing in that. Again, yes, it would have made sense, but I've made those choices on stocks before where on paper I'm going, of course, like this, when the pandemic happened. And so there was the stock, and it was a stock that was, I don't know if it right before the pandemic, if it was $100 a share, and it was traveling. It was a traveling stock for not a travel agency, but for hospitality investment. So it was $100 and something before the COVID. And then COVID happened, and of course, nobody was traveling, and the thing tanked, and it went down, and it was down to
$10 a share,
$20 a share. And I'm like, of course, let me buy a bunch of this stock, because after COVID, people are going to start traveling again. It's going to come back up. And I did. And then COVID ended, and people were traveling again, and it never went back up. So using that logic, it doesn't always mean that that's what's going to go and happen. Now you can go and buy, and I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen with NVIDIA or, that with Google. I think that those are going to go and stay around.
Look, I'll give you, again, people, this is just an opinion. All right. Since Gelindo's over here saying that we should start with something that's in the 20s. This is a stock that I'm looking at, a company that I'm looking at that's in the 20s, and it's called Palantir stock.
It's called what?
It's Palantir, and the call sign is PLTR. It's at 2435, and that company is also involved in the AI. I'm looking at it. I'm not investing in it currently. I'm just curious about it. If you want to be curious about it, if you were to ask me, would I buy any of it? I would be like, I wouldn't put more than $200 in this and hold and wait to see what will happen. That's if I had the $200 to spare and I'm just like, let me see what is going to happen. What I'm saying is, if I were to give you that because you'll get more shares, or something that I'm really more confident in, like Google, I would say, if you would say what's better, this or Google, I would say Google by far is a better company. But if we're talking about where you're going to get more shares, you're going to get more shares on this.
Yeah, Vegas, baby. That's what I want to do.
And that's the gamble, right? That's the gamble. I'm trying not. I like to do those type of plays, but for the most part, my brother tells me, hey, if you would be like legit on all the stuff that you were saying prior to, you would probably retire. You'd be able to retire by now. You just have to put everything on black. And I'm not that kind of investor. Gelindo obviously is that kind of. He's over here looking at this stock right now. He's like, this looks pretty promising.
I just bought 10,000 shares.
This looks promising. It's promising. It has a government contract. It's a programmer thing. So what that company does is you bring the NVIDIA chip, right? And you tell this company, I want you to program this chip to do this. And they have tons of people and tons of ways to program that chip to do what you want it to do. So that's its niche. That's its hope. But again, it's not something that I can say with high confidence to be like, oh, this is a winner. That's something I am looking at. It's not something I am 110%. Something that I'm 110% would be Google. I'm 110% on Google because of the infrastructure. So if I had $138 to spare, if it was between buying a pair of J's, Google, or Paul Tamir here, I would say go buy Google. It's the best investment for you. That's my 2 cents, Gelindo. All right.
Okay. All right.
There. Are you happy that I gave the $24 stock there? You happy about that?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at it, and yes, on paper it does look. That's how I would go and do it. I would be like, oh yeah, of course, this is good. Why wouldn't this? How is this going to go and fail? But yet, every time that I do, it winds up failing. So I shouldn't go and invest in it, because then you're going to wind up.
In fact, we should ask Gelindo to show us his profile and go against whatever he's doing.
Oh my God. If you saw mine, it's in the red, man. And I'm trying to figure out what to go and do with it. Because after just what you're talking about, I should just sell all that shit stock I've got and just in Google. And just
exactly
take the loss, but I don't want to take the loss right now because I haven't been working. I gotta wait until I'm fully functional again, and then I can semi-retire and start dipping into my my Roth IRA, and then I'll start selling all the stock.
To just keep on this AI topic and how I think it's going to change the world, and I think that we're all kind of sleepwalking, and the government definitely is sleepwalking towards it, is the Hollywood Reporter yesterday reported that Tyler Perry was going to invest in extending his studio out in Atlanta. It's for those of you that don't know, that's the biggest studio in the United States currently. And he was going to expand it. He was going to invest in additional it might be 8 million or 80 million. I don't remember. I just know it was 8 million or 80 million. You can read it. Again, it's on the Hollywood Reporter. And he played with the new OpenAI beta program that they have, the SAR thing, where you can take image to text. And yeah, I can only do a minute at a time. And yeah, it's the beta program of it. And he played with it. And then he said, yeah, no, I'm not going to invest in extending this studio.
800 million is what it was.
800 million. So that's not small change, people. That is a businessman making a business decision regarding AI and saying, yeah, no, I'd rather invest the 800 million in Google than in the studio. And so I'm just trying to pre-warn you all, where you're standing at the precipice of what's going to affect you in the next 10 years. It's going to change, and either what's your plan here? And you have the tools right now still available to you to choose where you want to land on this. And when I know that people tell me I got to live my life, it's and I know it's going to take a little sacrifice to say, the rims or Google, but the rims are going to get scratched and you're going to end up selling them. You're never going to get back what you put into them. And no one really cares besides you about your rims.
Right.
And so you should maybe invest in a little bit in the future. That's all I'm trying to say.
Right.
You agree with me, Gelindo?
No, I totally agree with you. Yeah, I agree with investing for sure. I think that you should do that, not just piss your money.
Especially if you're in your 20s. I mean, it's just
because you think that you're not going to be turning 60 and retiring. And
I'm 30. I just turned 30, 53, and it's tough.
Yeah, and it's going to happen, and all of a sudden you're going to be like, whoa. I mean, the thing here that Tyler Perry's talking about says there's got to be some sort of regulations in order to protect us. If not, I just don't see how we survive.
Exactly.
I don't know what regulations you think that you're going to put in that's going to stop people from using it.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
There's
absolutely nothing.
What do you mean regulations? You're not allowed to use it to create content or to be creative?
Yeah, I mean they want the regulations now that people are starting to talk about is that they want real human actors, real human, like they want humanity to stick, the ones being telling the story and saying the story and being in the camera and not be an AI character that I create from scratch.
Yeah, well, good luck with that, but that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. And again, when he's asking about regulation, and the reason why he pulled $800 million off the table is because he looked around at the government that he's grown up with and said, well, my government always is late for any regulation regarding an opening innovation of any kind, whether it's subprime loaning, whether it is the .com, whether it's oil, it doesn't matter. We're always late to that party. Always. Regulation always comes way too late. And it's going to be the same when it comes to AI. And so knowing that, I am just giving you guys a little vision, knowing that your government is late to regulate because that's the way that this government is set up. There's already a monopoly on the chips. I mean, NVIDIA already has a monopoly on the chips. We get what we're saying here? There's already a monopoly on the AI. There's already Google, Apple, NVIDIA, Intel. That's 4 companies. People. That's already a monopoly. So I'm just trying to, give you guys a little foresight. Go do some studying. Go kind of poke your head around in the gram, in the TikTok, and just kind of just venture out and see if you see what I'm seeing. And again, by all means, in the comments, let me know and be like, you know what, fool, you're crazy, son. Or better yet, hey, fool, have you heard of this stock? It's at $10 a share.
Right.
It's about to go public, son.
I feel sorry for you poor bastards that are having to deal with this for the next 20 years. You don't know what's
exactly what I'm saying. If you're like 25 years old, 24 years old, and this is coming, and you're going to go spend money on J's talking about, I'm going to go live my life.
Nobody's,
you know what I mean?
But I think that not many people are really paying attention to it.
No one is.
They're living in fear because I talk to younger people. I'm like, have you been checking out the AI? Oh, no. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable about that. I was like,
yeah, it's like they're sleepwalking to the plank. You know what I mean?
There was and here's the thing, like the guy that goes and cuts my hair, and I was telling him about this app. It was just in order to go and buy used stuff. I forget what the name of the app is. And I go, yeah, go on your phone. He's got an iPhone, and I see him. And he opens up the app, the app store, and of course it wants your username and password. And I said, aren't you just using face recognition for that? You don't have to type in anymore. You just double click. It just sees your face. Oh, no, I don't use the face recognition. I go, why not? And he goes, well, because there's, it's too much with the cameras. They're seeing your face, and then they know about everything that's going on with you. And I said, are you doing a heist? Because if you're doing a heist, I'd like to be in on it. He's like, well, no, it's just, I don't feel comfortable about it. I go, are you afraid that they know where you're at? I go, because they already know where you're at. I go, you're on the grid, baby. I go, it's too late.
Hey, Gelindo, isn't this calling the pot, calling the kettle something? Because don't we wear masks on this podcast and use aliases?
Right. Well, yes, but I'm talking about with people with AI, like they're afraid of it and not realizing that they're knee deep they're in the matrix so deep they don't even know it.
Oh, they don't even know. I mean, like I said, Gelindo, the fact that that idiot jumped what it jumped, and it didn't become a bigger story in the conversation, that the public was like, yeah, okay, as if it's an everyday occurrence,
Right.
Not understanding and being like, hey, if you look at this company, it was $400 a share, like I want to say 3 months ago. It's doubled in 3 months.
So now it's at $800 a share.
It's at $800.
There's another
share.
stock we can't afford. Thank you.
No, but it's the same one. It's Nvidia. It's what I'm talking about.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
In other words, the trajectory of it, and that no one, like, it's not a bigger news cycle. It's not like ringing the bell and being like, hey, ding, 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 the British are coming. Hey, AI is coming.
It's not a bigger story in the business world, or you're just saying in the general news?
I'm saying in the general public news. You know what I mean?
Why would it be a big story in the general news if people are not
Not even in the investment. Look, not even in the investment portion of it, but in the regulation of it. Like, not like, hey, that's the canary in the coal mine. It's jumped this much. What are we doing? Where is the regulation? What's his name pulls $800 million to basically invest in Atlanta, right? In a studio, right, which would create jobs for not just the industry, but for the construction that he would currently be starting. That's already been pulled off the table. So it's already cost jobs.
Correct. Right.
Right. And when he's even saying we need regulation, it is, where is the public asking? Again, this is why.
I don't know what regulation, but nobody's coming. We need regulation. Well, what kind? That's my question. I'm not saying that you don't need it. I'm saying, well, what regulation exactly do you want? That they're not allowed to go and create AI? I don't understand what regulation.
No, that you're not allowed, that it's not allowed to take human jobs, and that there's got to be like an affirmative action about jobs when it comes to humanity. Yes.
And all the auto workers ought to go and
I agree. That was part of the deal.
What about all the cashiers that lost all their jobs? Because
I agree. What I'm saying is, just how there was affirmative action in the past, I'm certain that if you say we want to put regulations on this and we want to say there's got to be affirmative action, that there's got to be some type of human count among the AI, that people would vote for it and be like, yeah, I want to protect human jobs.
All right. Good luck with that.
Oh, you just asked what kind of regulation. I just kind of gave you a little snippet on it, man.
Okay.
It's a thought. It's a shot in the dark. I'm just saying it. At least it's something. No one is saying anything, and it's not even brought up to be discussed. Everyone's bringing up all these other subjects, like, oh, we got to deal with this right now. We got to deal with that right now, and it's like, while in the meanwhile, AI is in the background, just getting better, and there's zero. Okay. Like, the new innovation is on its way. It's not on its way. It's terrible to say it this way. It's already here.
Picture as if the AI and it's going to come in and then these jobs are going to go away and then nobody has jobs. All jobs will be gone.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's going to be a large portion, or we're going to be in the beginning stages, and it's going to be disruptive, and it's going to be painful, and we're not prepared for that. I think in the long term, I think AI is going to be great for humanity. I think in the long term, it's gonna be amazing. I think my daughter Kennedy is going to live in a really amazing world when she's an adult. Me, currently, and what's about to occur, I don't think it's going to be a smooth sailing. That's what I'm saying. If you're like 25, 30, and you're in the workforce, it's going to be a little rough. That's my point of view. Okay,
so if you are, say, a veterinarian, how is AI going to go and disrupt your business?
Again, if you were a veterinarian, probably not, because AI is not going to disrupt your business because you have no idea.
So you're just talking about AI disrupting the creative.
I'm talking not just the creative, but like I said, lawyers are going to, paralegals are going to disappear. I would say radiologists are going to disappear. The people that read X-rays, which is a radiologist, and read MRI scans and read CAT scans, those people, that job is gone.
Well, who's going to run the MRI?
No, the MRI tech can, no problem. But the doctor who reads those MRIs, basically who writes a report afterwards. In other words, I take an X-ray or I take an MRI, I send it to the radiologist. The radiologist sits there and looks at it, and then he writes a report saying, right, yes, this bone is broken. Yes, here's the tendon ligament that's distressed or that needs to be replaced, right? That's what happens.
Right.
Now, but it takes a while for that to occur. Now, what you'll have is you'll email that image. You already do, but you'll fast track that image into an AI, and the AI can not just look at one, but it can look at hundreds of thousands and recognize a pattern and say, yeah, this is what needs to happen, and that report needs to go. In other words, the AI can by far read faster and more
and do a better
X-rays,
job.
MR, and do a better job than the radiologist can. So that job is gone.
Great. And it created this other job where somebody's going to have to go and put in that information to the AI. And somebody's going to have to go and No, the AI just goes and just gets it?
Yeah, you just email it over to the radiologist now. The image just goes via email now. The AI is just going to read the image. It's not going to have to.
But there's still somebody there's got to have a human being that's going to be reading it. Or
sure, that's just the tech currently that's taking the picture now.
Right.
Actually, you know what? We can talk to El Tío, who is a tech, and he'll tell you exactly. And we'll have a nurse, and I'm sure that I'll ask her the same questions to her, and I'm sure she'll enlighten me on how AI is going to affect us in the long term, just in the health portion of our community, which in the long term I think will be great, but in the short and medium term there's going to be pain.
Well, we started out really how I want to go and stick my head in an oven. Thank you very much.
Hey, I'm sorry. I listen, it's going to be amazing. In like 15 years, it's going to be great. It's just in the short term, it's going to be a little bumpy. That's all. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say don't buy the J's and buy Google. That's all.
Yeah. All right.
You know, that's all. That's all I'm trying to say.
Just remember, people, that's Foo talking, not Gelindo.
That's right.
Much more optimistic, and I think the future is looking well and bright. And don't worry, be happy. But he feels
buy the Jordans.
Buy the Jordans and buy some stock is what I'm saying. Do a little bit of both. So hang in there.
Hey, I want to blame my friend who told me that to have this conversation that I should go ahead, and it's his fault, Gelindo. All right, it's his fault. Taking you guys' advice on the gram, you see, getting a Gelindo all upset. Go ahead, Gelindo, just go on the gram and let them all know.
Don't forget, I'm the one that edits this, so all you're going to hear is just the beginning of this beginning part about us trying to raise money for Logan.
That's right. That's right.
And it turned into this whole dark.
Okay, I guess you might be right.
Hi, holy moly!
All right. Well,
on that note, don't forget there's The Last Apostle, which is on Amazon Prime. Check it out before the next episode where we're going to interview Logan Bush, and he's going to talk about his first documentary, but also he's talking about his second documentary that he's going to be creating and shooting, and he's looking for some help with the funding, which we want to go and help with because we think it's a really good project too.
All right, and on that note, we be out.
Hopefully.